Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley, and Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this, they lob it to him, he taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3, he's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and we are here. Today is the deadline for teams to place the franchise tag on players, and there's one player that we have been talking about for a very, very long time. That's Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens have still not came to a long-term deal with Lamar Jackson, and I think this thing right now is heading towards the franchise tag, and I think it's heading towards the non-exclusive franchise tag, which the difference between exclusive and non-exclusive is $32 million a year, and other teams can negotiate with the player, and if the Ravens or can negotiate with the player and come up with a deal, and if the Ravens don't match that deal, that other team gets the player, and the Ravens get 2 first-round picks. The exclusive tag is $45 million a year, and then Lamar can negotiate with no team. So I think it's going for it's heading towards the non-exclusive franchise tag, and I think it's heading. I think at this point, if they don't get a deal done in the next 3 hours, I think Lamar Jackson's days as a Raven are over.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It kind of seems like most of the offseason is kind of what it's been leaning towards. Even last offseason, we were trying to get together, trying to get a deal, in place. It kind of seemed like both parties weren't, we're not seeing eye to eye in what Lamar was asking for. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think, if this thing goes to a non-exclusive franchise tag, what it sounds like it's very possible, and that's probably going to happen. I think we've probably have seen Lamar Jackson's last time as a Baltimore Raven.
Oh, without question. And this is all on the Ravens. I mean, I just don't know how you don't get a deal done with this guy. I mean, yeah, he didn't have an agent. Yes, he might have been asking for a ton, but this is the best quarterback in your franchise's history. And to me, I don't think it makes really any sense for you not to have a deal done with this guy. And at this point, the Ravens have completely done this to themselves.
Yeah, they absolutely have. They've had over a year now to kind of figure this out. We've seen their offense when he's not out there with the injury, when he's been out with injury, and it's a total different team. So far, it's they've really struggled without him on the field. And again, they don't have a ton of weapons, especially at the wide receiver. They probably have one of the worst right there at the Bears and even Patriots, one of the worst wide receiver rooms. And that hasn't helped things out. That hasn't, but he's been able to overcome that, play well. And yeah, I think, it's definitely on the Ravens that they have not been able to get this thing done. I think part of it too is Watson getting the 230 million guaranteed last year. It really shifted the market for the quarterbacks. And again, I think Lamar Jackson's better than Deshaun Watson. So, and again, he's obviously going to ask for more than that. So I think Browns giving the Watson all that money last offseason, it really is really changed the market at the quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. It absolutely did. Yeah, what the Browns did with the fully guaranteed money, like at the Cardinals, and what the Broncos did with Russ. Yeah, it's completely changed the market. And yes, but say the Ravens did this deal, a year earlier or 2 years earlier, they wouldn't be dealing with this problem right now. The problem with the Ravens is they could not come to a deal with this guy, and this is why they're in the awful situation they're in today.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And yeah, it's on them. They could have got this done last offseason. You could have got it out of the way, didn't have to deal with it. And then yeah, you move on from there and you kind of redevelop that offense, and then kind of move on, try to figure out how to make that offense better, how to, build more around them. And yeah, they haven't gotten it done. And yeah, it's absolutely on the Ravens. They've had so much time. And yeah, it's something that, again, it could really cost them. We'll see. I know they've, said that they have other plans if they can't, if they don't come to a deal and he does do the non-exclusive franchise tag, that what it goes to. They said they have a plan if they lose them. So we'll see what that is. But yeah, it's a team that in that division without Lamar Jackson, it's going to be very hard to be better than the Bengals. Probably, they're really going to struggle next year. They'll be, going to be tougher than they get a wild card spot without Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, they say they have a plan. They should have had a plan 2 years ago to pay this guy to come up with a long-term deal for this guy. And yeah, it's going to be if they don't have Lamar Jackson anymore, especially next year, they're clearly a third place team. They're definitely going to be a third place team. They'll definitely be behind the Steelers and Bengals, and they'll probably be behind the Browns too. I think that they're clearly the worst team in the division. And Eric DeCosta is going to take so much heat if this doesn't get done. If say this doesn't get done and the Ravens finish like 5-12 or 4-13 next year, he could be out of a job.
Yeah, that would be the Ravens' worst season lasted 15, 20 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's been a franchise that's been very consistent, a lot of winning, and yeah, it would definitely be a move that, especially if they don't, again, who knows what their plan is at quarterback, but yeah, again, they're probably gonna have more than likely probably the fourth worst quarterback in that division, more than likely. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it's such a. Again, you go back to what happened at the end of last year. They could not score. They couldn't get any offense going without Lamar Jackson. So yeah, DeCosta's again gonna. He will definitely take a lot of heat from the Raven fans, and rightfully so, because yeah, this is a guy you got to keep, and we've seen how important he's been to this team the last couple of years.
And why I think it's heading the way it's heading is because you saw the comments from Rashard Bateman last week criticizing the GM. So you saw DeCosta's comments, and then Bateman criticizing the GM. It's just stuff you don't hear from the Ravens organization. You don't hear the stuff from the Ravens organization. So I think with all the rumblings and everything that's been going on, it just feels like this is heading towards a non-exclusive franchise tag. And it feels like a team like the Falcons, maybe even the Jets, the Commanders, the Panthers give up 2 first-round picks, and they get Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think they do lose them. Yeah, the comments by Bateman, kind of calling out the organization, all that. Yeah, that definitely has not helped. Matters as well. It definitely has not helped either. They're the Ravens' case here the last week or so. Rightfully so. Bateman trying to calling out that organization. They're again with the offense not fully with that wide receiver room hasn't been great. Like Bateman was right. It's a team that if they put a little bit more, especially at the wide receiver position, it's a really good team, and they already are with Lamar Jackson. But yeah, again, Panthers, Commanders, you mentioned, Jets, that a lot of those teams are going to be will definitely offer their services, and will really get definitely will get off 2 draft picks to get a guy like Lamar Jackson in that locker room.
It's the first time I remember we've talked about the difference, or a lot of people have even heard about the difference between exclusive and non-exclusive franchise tag, because a lot of teams just give their guys the non-exclusive franchise tag because they know most players aren't worth 2 first-round picks. But the reason why this is important, the reason why exclusive and non-exclusive are important is if Lamar Jackson does get the non-exclusive, he is worth 2 first-round picks. That's why we've been talking about those 2 different franchise tags over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, because it's weird. You don't usually get the non-exclusive one too much. Like it's a rare one. So yeah, it's definitely it's yeah, definitely different. And yeah, the Ravens and Lamar is definitely worth that. And the Ravens, yeah, and yeah, there's a lot of teams out there that would rightfully so give up 2 first-round draft picks to get Lamar Jackson. It's definitely a rare one with the non-exclusive price tag or franchise tag.
Yeah, I mean, more. I think more of the non-exclusive
Oh, yeah.
isn't as rare because teams just don't give up the 2 first-round picks, so they don't really negotiate with them. The exclusive is more rare because it's more money.
Okay, yeah. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's different, having it kind of be with the non-exclusive. Like it just usually we don't see it as much, I feel it,
Yeah,
but than the exclusive. But yeah, it's something where the Ravens rightfully so would get their 2 first-round picks, and yeah, a lot of teams would pay the services for Lamar Jackson.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Especially these teams that need quarterbacks, they're absolutely paying. They're absolutely paying. They're absolutely giving up those 2 first-round picks for Lamar. But we got to move on to another quarterback, and that's Derek Carr, and he signed with the Saints yesterday. 4 years, 150 million, making about 37 million a year. And this move is a good move for the Saints. I think this move makes the Saints. In my opinion, I think they definitely are the best team in the NFC South. I don't know if it makes them the best team it makes them a contender in the NFC, but it definitely makes them a contender in the South. Justin, do you agree? Do you think they're a contender? They're the best team in the NFC South?
Yeah, I agree with you. You look at the other quarterbacks in the division right now. Atlanta. Right now it's going to be Desmond Ritter. We'll see what the Panthers do, and we'll see what the Buccaneers do now. So yeah, absolutely. I think Derek Carr again. It's the team that's 7-10 last year. Carr, he's got pretty much the same amount of talent that they did when he did this year in Vegas. So I think the Saints are right now the best team in that division. But yeah, they still got some pieces, and they need to get a little bit better to be a contender in the NFC and yeah, over in the NFC. But it's something where a couple moves right now, depending on what happens with Rodgers, it's very wide open. I feel like the NFC right now. After kind of the Niners, we'll see what happens with Packers. So and yeah, obviously the Eagles as well. So it's definitely they pick up somebody else or two, get a good draft pick or not. Then maybe the Saints could kind of sneak in there, maybe win a game and could contend. But right now, just kind of think they're the best team in that division.
Oh, clearly, it's not hard to be the best team in that division. That division was terrible last year, but yeah, I mean, it's still. I mean, I clearly think they should be the favorite going into the season. And the next question is what is this team? Can this team contend in this NFC with Derek Carr? And I'm going to say I don't think so. And here's the reason why. I think there's issues on that offensive line. That offensive line, especially on the interior, really struggled last year. And Trevor Penning didn't play that much. So outside of Ramczyk, that offensive line isn't that good. Michael Thomas has had issues staying healthy. Jarvis Landry, his best days might be behind him. And with their defense, Cameron Jordan, their best players, Cameron Jordan, you got Jordan and Davis and Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis, Cameron Jordan, and Tyrann Mathieu. Those 3 guys, they're all in their 30s on defense. Yes, their defense was good, but it wasn't great. I think it's like a 9 to maybe 10 win team that maybe wins a playoff game. But I don't see this team being a contender in the NFC, even with Derek Carr.
Yeah, I'm with you. They pick up somebody, couple draft picks. Right outside of like the Niners, Eagles, with the Packers, we'll kind of see what happens with Rodgers. Like they could kind of be there, maybe be like the 3 seed, win a game. But yeah, Carr's used to bad offensive lines. For the last couple of years in Vegas, they haven't been great either. He's used to that, but yeah, I think they need a little bit more too offensively around him. Definitely a team that's you mentioned would win the division, but yeah, I don't think they're right now at this point contenders. But obviously, in the NFC is so kind of wide open after the Eagles and Niners that a couple of moves they could kind of be right there and kind of be the 3rd best team in the conference.
Yeah, the Saints did beat the Eagles last year, even though that was without Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. They did beat the Eagles last year, but I don't see it. I think some of their better guys on defense are getting old. And Derek Carr last year won 6 games. I know he got benched those last couple of games, but he won 6 games with Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams last year. So Derek Carr, he's not a top 10 quarterback, but he is a top 15 quarterback. It definitely is an upgrade over Andy Dalton. But what I see of the Saints, I think they win the division, but they don't contend in the NFC.
Yeah, I'm with you. And last year, with Carr, the Raiders blew 5 or 6 leads this year that are 10 points or more. They were winning. Like they definitely could have won a couple more of those. And I don't put all those on Carr. And I don't think McDaniels totally used Carr right. Like I think I just look at those last 2 weeks, and there was a totally different offense when they had Stidham in there. So I kind of feel bad for Carr. I don't think McDaniels is a big fan of him. And I think that was kind of a big reason why. But he's definitely a better upgrade than Jameis Winston. But it doesn't put them in that contender category yet for the NFC.
No. And this is a better fit. It definitely is a better fit. He's with his old coach, the coach that drafted him in Dennis Allen. But they're definitely not contenders in the NFC with this move. But they are the favorite to win the division. But now we got to talk about the team that was close to signing Derek Carr. That's the Jets. And what do the Jets do now? What do they do at quarterback now? I think it's pretty obvious. You got to go out and trade for Aaron Rodgers. You got to do it. You got to trade for Aaron Rodgers. And they talked to him on Monday. They met with him on Tuesday. This has got to happen for the Jets. This has got to happen, or it's going to be disastrous. I mean, they could get Lamar too, but it's still, if they don't get Rodgers, but by that time another team is probably getting Lamar Jackson. So if they don't get Rodgers, it is going to be a disaster for the Jets. So because you're saying you're shopping. You have a second-year quarterback you don't have any faith. Third-year quarterback you have no faith in, and you're shopping around. You're talking to Derek Carr. You're talking to Aaron Rodgers, and then you go back to Zach Wilson. What are you going to tell to the fan base, and more importantly, that locker room? I think Robert Saleh is going to lose the locker room if they don't get an Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I'm with you, because Aaron Rodgers, obviously going there, that veteran presence, obviously he's won a couple MVPs, definitely changed that whole franchise around, especially with the young talent they got in Garrett Wilson, and Elijah Moore's pretty good as well. That whole locker room. Now, probably the third option would have to be they strike out on Rodgers, and Lamar's probably like a Jimmy G type.
It's got to be Jimmy G.
Yeah,
got to be Jimmy G.
Which wouldn't be horrible either, because he could lead you to the playoffs, but they're not a Super Bowl contender. But you can't go back to Zach Wilson. You just can't. There's no way you could do that. That fan base is going to lose it. That locker room, again, he does not seem like he's a big it does not seem like a lot of guys like him in that locker room. So they have to go Aaron Rodgers or try to get Lamar, or the third option would probably be Jimmy G. But Aaron Rodgers would definitely be the one. And again, bring him into New York with that fan base that just so wants to win, especially what they saw. They saw some bright spots in that team this year, and they're getting close. It's been a decade since they made the playoffs. So Aaron Rodgers would definitely change that. Definitely change the franchise. Yeah,
I mean, I know you're gonna have to give up draft picks and maybe some good players for Aaron Rodgers, but I feel like you just have to do it at this point. You just got to make the move, because if you don't get Rodgers, you more than likely will miss out on Lamar, and then Jimmy G, as you said, he might take them to the playoffs, but they're not competing for a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think this team has to get it done with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. They got to get done. They got to figure it out. It's gonna cost you, but again, Douglas has been good drafting wise, so I feel like they kind of replenish that in the draft. So they might have to get a couple guys, but it'd be worth it. I know Rodgers had a down year, but you put him with some couple of good young wide receivers, and that maybe helps him out for the next couple of years, towards the end of his career.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I think Rodgers and the Packers, from my sense, that the Packers are getting tired of Aaron Rodgers. They want to move on from Jordan Love. This is a perfect time for the Jets to strike when the iron's hot, make this big move, and get Rodgers here. Yeah, absolutely.
I totally agree with you. Why do you got the chance? Again, they've struggled so much at trying to find a quarterback, over the years. You might as well. You got a guy like Aaron Rodgers sitting there. you might as well try to take advantage and grab him. Even at the back end of his career, give that franchise, that fan base, a little bit of hope that they can contend.
Absolutely. Now we'll move on to the other New York team, and Jones and Barkley. The Giants still have not gotten a deal done with Daniel Jones. Saquon, the talks have stalled right now. But so the big thing is that it's going to be two things are going to happen. Two scenarios with the Giants. If they do come to a deal with Daniel Jones in the next 3 hours, then they will franchise Saquon Barkley. But if they don't, they will franchise Daniel Jones, and Saquon Barkley will be a free agent. So I don't like the way the Giants have handled this. I don't like the way Jones and the Giants have handled this. I wish there was a deal done right now. I really do. I think this is they very, very. If they franchise Jones, there is a chance they could lose Saquon Barkley. So I really don't like what the Giants have done right here. I really don't. And I think I mean, what I wanted to come up with a deal with Daniel Jones and franchise Saquon. But the problem is Daniel Jones wanted $45 million. I don't think anybody thinks he had a good year last year. He had a really good year last year. But I don't think anybody thinks he's worth $45 million. That's why the Giants haven't paid him. And now it looks like they're going to franchise Daniel Jones, and Saquon's going to be a free agent. Just the scenario you did not want if you were a Giants fan.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the 45 million, it just, again, he had a good year last year. I know the wide receiver room was all banged up into that, but he still only threw 15 passing touchdowns. It wasn't like, and especially with Carr and Geno Smith he definitely should not be making more than those two. So yeah, absolutely. He should not be getting that. And it's kind of hurting things right now with the Giants to try to get it done with Jones and Barkley. Because Barkley wants something close to McCaffrey, and again, he had a really nice year, but the injuries are a concern. Obviously, running backs long term, it's a risky investment. So, the Jones right now and the Giants, it's definitely kind of hurts the organization trying to get something done with Barkley. But Dana Jones, no way. I don't. He should get 45 million. I wouldn't even give him 40. 35 is even pushing it. What Geno and Carr got, I think 35 is even pushing it a little bit. So I know it's tough, but it's just, it's definitely hurts the organization right now that sounds like they're not going to get something done with them. And now you run the risk too of losing Barkley.
Yeah. And I would give him 30, whatever Derek Carr and Geno Smith got, I would give him. I wouldn't go over 40 million. I wouldn't go over 40 million for him. If you have to make it 40 million, okay. I wouldn't go over that. I definitely am not giving him what he's asking for. And the problem is it's hurting this team. It's going to hurt this team going into free agency. If Jones isn't locked up and Jones or Barkley are not locked up to contracts, it's going to hurt this team going into free agency, because it's going to be tough for this team it's going to be tough for Shane to improve this team in free agency without having these two guys locked up. And it looks like that's the direction things are going in right now.
Yeah, absolutely it is. You're going to have to do it in a draft and try to kind of upgrade that way. And I know Love's a free agent too, and he had a really nice year in the back end. And that's a guy I know you guys would like to keep as well. But you obviously got to get this stuff done with Daniel Jones, and you hope Saquon Barkley. But that's another guy you could lose as well. So it definitely kind of hurts the organization, especially after such a positive year, after so many years that it finally looked like, and they still are, that things are going in the right direction. But now it's kind of feels like if things kind of finish the way, if Jones and Barkley, they can't kind of, if Jones doesn't come to the deal in the next couple hours with the Giants, it kind of feels like you do kind of step back a little bit, backwards, because you do run the risk of losing Barkley now. But it's definitely, it definitely hurts. And, it's disappointing that, right now that they just have not been able, that Jones just hasn't been able to come up with a deal with the team. And it definitely does hurt the team. Definitely hurt Shane going into free agency here, because his hands are gonna, the cap space, his hands are definitely gonna be tied of guys the guys that he wants to try to acquire.
A tweet from Adam Schefter: contract talks between the Giants and quarterback Daniel Jones are, in the words of one source, going down to the wire. So it looks like it's just going to be like Lamar Jackson. They're going to come right down to that 4 o'clock trade, that 4 o'clock deadline. So the talks are coming right down the wire. So we're probably not going to know before 4 o'clock what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson or what's going to happen with Daniel Jones. Now, I actually think Lamar Jackson, I think it's heading towards the franchise tag. Daniel Jones, you don't know. So it's going to come right down. And so it looks like from what Schefter said, it's coming right down to the wire.
Yeah, I guess kind of figured it the way things were going that was going to be very possible that the thing's going to go right down to 4 o'clock here. And yeah, hopefully the Giants could kind of figure something out. Hopefully, Jones kind of knocks down what he wants and it's more team friendly here so that, they can continue to build, continue to improve. And I guess that's what, hopefully in the next, 2.5 hours, they can kind of figure it out.
Exactly. So we'll now move on to a quarterback who got signed yesterday. Geno Smith got signed by the Seattle Seahawks. I think it was 3 years, $105 million. I think it's around a 30 to 35 million a year. And I'm happy for him. For everything he's went through in his career, he struggled with the Jets. He only started that one game with the Giants. Everything he's went through in his career, and he had a career year in Seattle last year, and now he earned himself a new contract. And now for the Seahawks, they got in free agency and in the draft, that front seven is so important because they got a good secondary, got some good young guys in the secondary with Neal and Woolen. Obviously, you got two pretty good tackles now with Lucas and Charles Cross, and then you look at their skill guys. Kenneth Walker had a really good year. You obviously got DK and you got Tyler Lockett. So I really like this move. And Seattle now they got free agency and the draft to improve on this front seven. If they could improve on that front seven, and Geno can play the way he did last year, that's a sneaky set. That's a sleeper team in the NFC.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the way they got to the playoffs last year, it was kind of out of nowhere, the Seahawks, the way they got there. Everybody counted them out before the season. Yeah, it was great for Geno to see him, take over the way he did. Again, Drew Lock getting COVID, he may never got the job, Geno. They may have gone with Drew Lock. So, yeah, finally some luck for Geno Smith kind of finally went his way, and he was definitely due for it. So, yeah, he had an awesome year. It was great to see him, have such a great year because, yeah, he definitely deserved it. I know they struggled a little bit in the second half, but, yeah, it's definitely a team next year. Right now, it's the second best team in that division. And, yeah, not better than Niners yet, but they're, but, yeah, as you mentioned, they got the top 5 pick this year in the draft. So they can definitely improve, definitely could sneak up on somebody as a wildcard team next year.
Oh, well, absolutely. They got in the playoffs last year. I don't know if they win the division next year. I think San Francisco is just really, really good. But I definitely think they could win. If last year they finished 9-8, I think they could be a 10, 11. I think they could be 11, maybe a 12-win team. And I think they could make a run. They're kind of building that second version of that Legion of Boom with Ryan Neal, with Quandre Diggs, with Tariq Woolen. They're kind of building that, second wave. They're kind of trying to build the Legion of Boom again. Got good skill guys on offense. I like this team. And it's all up to Geno now to play the way he played last year. And if he does, this team's going to be very successful. Yeah,
they absolutely will. Yeah, it kind of seemed like the guys really liked him in that locker room. He seemed well liked. Yeah, that defense is young, but yeah, they're starting to really improve. And you mentioned, they got some young talent finally in that back end where, there's definitely some, definitely improving. Pete Carroll's done a good job with Seattle, in his tenure there. So yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a team that, definitely could reach the double-digit victories next year.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we'll wrap up talking about the Cowboys. And yesterday they franchised Tony Pollard, and it looks like they'll end up coming to a long-term deal with him. So it looks like he's going to be the running back for the future. But the big question is now what do the Cowboys do with Ezekiel Elliott? And I think, in my opinion, they need to cut bait with Zeke. They need to get rid of Zeke. If they get rid of him this year, they save $5 million in cap space. It'd be $11 million in dead cap, but his cap hit would have been $16 million. So they save $5 million in cap space. I think right now you cut ties and you get rid of Ezekiel Elliott. I think Pollard's your guy. You come up with a deal for Pollard and you get rid of Zeke.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you have to because, even if Pollard gets a franchise tag, again, that's $26 million going to your running back room. That's just way too much. Nowadays, where you could kind of find a second running back that you could kind of pay on the cheap on a rookie deal or whatever and be productive. So, yeah, Elliott, last year banged up at times. Probably had his worst year so far in his career, numbers wise. So yeah, unless there's some, they cut him and maybe, they talked to Ellie about coming back and, signing like a $2 to $3 million contract, which I don't think he would. Like, that's the only reason I would bring him back. But yeah, I definitely think they should cut ties with Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, they got to. They got to. I mean, that contract was not a good contract at all. If you look at it, he never really played at a high level after he got that contract. He was good, but he wasn't as great as he was the 3 years previous, which got him that deal.
Yeah, absolutely. When he first got that deal, yeah, he's one of the best running backs in the league, and he absolutely deserved it. But yeah, the last couple of years just hasn't been the same. And Pollard's taking that job, and he's ran with it. So yeah, he hasn't been the same type of guy. And because he was one of the best running backs in the league a couple years ago. So yeah, definitely time to probably just cut ties with him, because that contract's been awful.
Absolutely. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Sports Talk with R&J. But we're going to be back in 5 minutes talking about March Madness and Championship Week in college basketball. So we'll talk to you in 5 minutes.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are not. They're even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meat, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.